afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world here on this Wednesday. Of course, here in the Valley, we got some weather rolling through and some rain, so it's affecting at least things around town. Hopefully, you're being safe out there. And, what's going on with the market. We'll look at stocks we're paying attention to, national, local stories you need to know. And I'm already looking ahead to the December Fed meeting. Been doing a little bit of research on what the thought is here on rate cuts coming up. Are they not coming up? So we got some updates on that as well. And we'll talk about some local stories later on, including a big hotel right here. You can almost see it on the screen behind me here. It's just off to, your left or my right of the screen there, just off to this side. A hotel there that's been sold. We'll talk about all that in the local section. But now let's get right into that Market Watch. And look, fairly good day today, finally. Now, basically everything's about even right now in terms of the market. Everything's barely up as we're looking at it. There has been some rallies here, right, with everything in the black. Alphabet has jumped today, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But Wall Street right now is waiting for the NVIDIA earnings that are coming in after the bell today. More retailers will report today, and Walmart's coming out here as well in the next couple days. So people are waiting on that. People are waiting for the non-farm payroll report to come out for September. That'll be out tomorrow morning, Thursday morning as well. So that's just where we are right now. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics just came out as we were coming to air. They said that October jobs data, they're not going to release that report at all. But what they're going to do is any available figures will be included in the next report and so they'll include that into the next report instead of coming out with its own October one. So the November 2025 data will have some of that October data that we are missing. So all of that is out there. Obviously, some big question marks on where the market is or where the economy is right now. NVIDIA will give us some insight later on. We're going to look at their stock here in just a minute. But right now, Dow Jones up 34 points. It's trading at 46,074. The S&P 500 up 27 points to 6633. The Nasdaq's up 30 points right now to 22,463. That small cap index, the Russell 2K, it's basically even. It's teetering between green and red right now. 0.40 down at this moment. 2351 is where it's at, basically even. And then there's Bitcoin back down under 90,000 again, folks. 89,422 for Bitcoin here today. So another 3,500 point drop here, under 90,000, and this time it's staying under 90,000 for a considerable amount of time here today as well. When it dropped below it the other day, it dropped below it, popped right back up. So cryptocurrencies as a whole, specifically Bitcoin, really big losses here for them here so far over this last couple of weeks at that 89,000 range. Stocks we're paying attention to right now as we're waiting for all of these reporting. NVIDIA's reporting later today. Well, first one we're going to look at is NVIDIA out there. Shares are up here, 1.53%. All this is anticipation of their third quarter earnings report due today after the bell. It's expected to be good. It's expected to hit all the numbers. And it's expected to show growth and profitability coming the way for NVIDIA in the future as well. So that's why they're up 1.45%. In anticipation of their reporting later today. Of course, we'll give you all that information on tomorrow's McCollum on Business. Next up, we're going to look at Alphabet out there. We talked about how that is kind of driving the market up here today. 3.35% up for Alphabet right now. You know Alphabet, YouTube, Google parent. If you're not sure, that's that company. Well, they're up today. All-time high is what they hit here. They hit about 4%. That was that all-time high level for them. They rolled out its Gemini 3 artificial intelligence platform. They brought that out yesterday on Tuesday. Google said Gemini 3 lets users get better answers to more complex questions, and then they need less prompting to find the context and intent behind your request. So they're calling that Gemini 3 a little bit smarter than the other ones out there. Alphabet, big positive jump off of that news, 3.39% up right now for Alphabet. And then we're going to look at MP Materials. It's been a few weeks since we've looked at this rare earth mining company, 8.67% up today. Well, they announced a partnership with the U.S. Defense Department. We already know that the U.S. Defense Department has invested in MP Materials. But now this announcement and partnership is with the U.S. Defense Department and Saudi Arabia's Madden. They're going to develop a rare earth refinery coming up here as well. So that is positive news here is rare earths get away from the reliance on China in terms of the dominance of that. Get out there, extracting it's one thing, putting it into market conditions is another. That refinery is going to help with that. And then Goldman Sachs actually initiated the stock with a buy rating earlier in the day before that announcement as well. So good news around MP Materials here today, 8.75% up for that rare earth company right now. And now let's get into those national stories out there. And I guess there's one benefit maybe that'll be good after the government shutdown is over now in terms of future government shutdowns. Well, now congressional representatives from both parties. So this is a bipartisan thing here. Well, both parties introduced legislation that would allow air traffic controllers to get paid if there are any future shutdowns, and there will be more future shutdowns. So the bill, there's a bunch of them, but the one that everybody's paying attention to, it proposes funding salaries, operating expenses, and other FAA programs. They're going to tap into a little use fund there. It's a $2.6 billion fund. It was created to reimburse airlines just in case the government has to take over their planes and then the planes are damaged. They'll be able to pay for those. Nobody touches this fund otherwise. The bill's introduction comes ahead of the scheduled hearing this morning by a Senate subcommittee, and they're going to examine the impacts of the 43-day shutdown, specifically on the aviation side of things in terms of the shutdown. It's not clear whether this bill, any of the similar proposals that have been floating around Congress, and they've been going in and out of Congress since the 2019 shutdown. That was a lengthy one as well. We don't know if they'll have a chance to get approved or even, gone through the process, even before the next government funding deadline, which is now at the end of January. That was the agreement here with the government opening up end of January. Nearly all of the proposals will rely on the Aviation Trust Fund that collects monies from the fees that the airlines pay. And then the Congressional Budget Office has given those bills a much higher price tag, meaning what they're claiming it's going to cost to fund the air traffic controllers. The Congressional Budget Office is saying whatever figure you have, it's actually going to be higher coming up. And yes, you want everybody to be paid 100% on board with that. The other issue, though, on the negative side is air traffic controllers, TSA. Well, they can end these types of government shutdowns by not showing up to work, affecting the airline industry, etc. Going to take that out of the way here if you do pay them in this. It'll be interesting to see if any of them do get passed. So I guess one thing looking at here on the government shutdown and what's coming out on that side. And I told you at the top of the show, I've been kind of looking into what the thought is here on the December federal meeting. Is there going to be another quarter rate cut? These government reports aren't coming out. I just told you. The jobs report for October will not ever come out. They're going to put what numbers they do have in with the November one here coming up. And that's going to be one that's going to, the Fed is going to have to look at it closely here, right, to decide what they're going to do. And it was once seen, right? We all thought just a month ago, 2 months ago, that they're pretty much a guarantee of a cut in interest rates in December by the Fed. Well, everybody's kind of 50-50 on that now as well. Federal Reserve officials, well, they sharply disagree on the economy's health. And then they even sharply disagree on inflation and the weak hiring and whether that represents a higher threat, if it represents a lower threat. A lot of unknowns here with this meeting coming up in December. So within several speeches in the last week, some of the Fed, well, they've registered greater concern over persistent inflation. And they say that the echo of the affordability concerns are out there. And that's played a big role here in elections earlier this month. I told you on those elections, a lot of the feedback from voters was the economy and how expensive everything is and the price of it. At the same time, though, another side of the Fed, well, they're much more concerned about the hiring and how there is no hiring right now. But even the threat that the low hire, low fire job market could worsen into one where layoffs become bigger and bigger and more widespread. So those are kind of the thoughts of the Fed makers there, right? And the turmoil on the Fed's 19-member interest rate setting committee, big disputes here on what's good, what's bad. It reflects a deeply uncertain economic outlook that's out there. And multiple factors are why we have this outlook, and the professionals have this outlook as well, right? Tariffs, obviously, artificial intelligence, and the money being spent on that. The tax policy changes, even immigration affects how the economy is viewed here by these policymakers. Some Fed watchers, the people on the outside, well, they say that an unusually high number of people could dissent in this next meeting coming up, and that meeting is December 9th through the 10th. So that doesn't, they're saying a high number could dissent. Like recently, we've had one or two Fed members dissent on what's being done. Right, last meeting there was a quarter rate reduction in it. One voted because he wanted a half a point cut rate. One voted against it and dissented because he wanted a no change in the monetary policy. So the dissension could come whether the Fed does reduce the rates, or even if they just keep them the same. You could have a lot of that. So I went back and looked at the history here. Four dissenting votes would be highly unusual. You don't get that too often. The Fed does have a history of seeking consensus before they go to the voting side. The last time four officials dissented was all the way back in 1992. Alan Greenspan was the Fed chairman back then, and it's been that long since four. Now, we've had two recently. Of course, we had one first time in a long time earlier this year. Now we have two and four, not till 1992. So here, basically, the bottom line is this. December Fed meeting, it's up in the air right now if we get a rate cut or not coming from the Fed. So that's kind of where we stand here in the middle of November, November 19th. Let's keep our eyes on that and see if it changes at all. I doubt it's going to change much. Now, maybe Thanksgiving sales numbers or employment numbers over the Thanksgiving holiday might help it out or hurt it, of course, as well. So something we'll keep our eyes on here at McCollum on Business. And now let's move over to some private companies and interesting results in a court here for Meta, right? Facebook, WhatsApp parent company. As a little pretext, Google was ruled a monopoly, and there was a big debate on if they'd have to unload their browser, etc. Well, now Meta has actually won that lawsuit that they were involved in. Yes, Meta has prevailed over that big challenge there to its business model as a whole. This result could have forced Meta to spin off Instagram and WhatsApp as well. A judge did rule that the company does not hold a monopoly in social networking, which gives them the right to keep the company the way that it is. This comes from a U.S. district judge, and they issued their ruling Tuesday after the antitrust trial did wrap up in late May. So a long time to make his decision here. His decision runs, obviously, in big contrast to the other rulings that have branded Google that illegal monopoly in both search and online advertising. The tech industry has been under attack for years here after their huge growth that they've had and buying the competition. Now people are targeting for that monopoly side of stuff. The FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, they kind of filed this lawsuit and they, quote, continue to insist that Meta competes with the same old rivals as it has for the last decade, that the company holds a monopoly among that small set of companies, and that it maintained that monopoly through anti-competitive acquisitions, unquote. That was kind of what the judge wrote in his ruling as well, and kind of siding with Meta here in this ruling. He did write also in his ruling on top of that, quote, whether or not Meta enjoyed monopoly power in the past, he said the agency must show, meaning the FTC, that it continues to hold such power now. The court's verdict today determines that the FTC has not done so, unquote, there by the judge. So big win for Meta here in the federal court. The FTC had argued that Meta maintained a monopoly by pursuing an expression That's their CEO, right? Mark Zuckerberg. He made the comment in 2008. That comment famously, quote, it is better to buy than compete, unquote. That's kind of where you get to a monopoly. You buy your competitors out and get rid of your competition, right? And that leads to that monopoly side. So it is ruled not a monopoly here by the judge. Interesting that they ruled that for them, and Google and Alphabet specifically have been ruled the opposite side of things. So it's interesting results here in the court. We'll have to keep our eyes on if it splits up, comes back, FTC goes back again in appeal, or where they stand at. And we talk all the time. Speaking of Meta, for instance, and these large companies and AI and their data centers. Interesting enough here that we've told you before, Constellation Energy is a company out there. They want to start up a couple reactors there at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania, nuclear stuff, to power some of these data centers. Well, they're getting another step towards doing that because the U.S. Department of Energy did come out yesterday. They said they will loan $1 billion to help finance the restart of that nuclear power plant there in Pennsylvania. So this is there at that 3 Mile Island, as I said. It's under contract to supply power to data centers for Microsoft, is where that company is that power is gonna go to. The loan is in line with the priorities of President Trump, as we know, right? He wants to bolster nuclear power, and he also wants to bolster that artificial intelligence and these data centers in the race with China, right? In the way those businesses work. So Constellation Energy is the company. It owns the 3 Mile Island's lone functioning nuclear power reactor. So they'll get this federal loan, and that federal loan will help lower its financing costs to get the basically the plant that's been shut down for several years running again. I don't think you can just go in there and flip a switch, right, to get it up and running. It's an 835 megawatt reactor. It can power the equivalent of about 800,000 homes. So why aren't we powering homes with it instead of data centers, right? The reactor has been out of operations for 5 years. That was when Constellation Energy announced last year that it would spend $1.6 billion to restart it under a 20-year agreement with Microsoft to buy the power for the data centers. Constellation Energy. So there's one functioning unit there, right? They've renamed that. It's called the Crane Clean Energy Center now instead of the 3 Mile Island deal. So if you see that name, that's what they're talking about. Constellation Energy is working to restore equipment along the turbine, generator, main power transformer, the cooling and controlling systems that are important to nuclear power. It wants to bring the plant back online in 2027. So, Energy Department, $1 billion to get power to data centers over there in Pennsylvania coming up. And Target does report their numbers this week as well. And let's focus a little bit on Target here with what they're announcing that they're kind of doing with their business. And no shocker here that they're the latest company, the latest retailer specifically, to announce that partnership with OpenAI, which of course means ChatGPT. Americans are kind of leaving the traditional search engines like Google and they're moving over to ChatGPT. And they're doing a lot so here this holiday season. I got a stat coming up for you on kind of the outlook on that. So this partnership between Target and OpenAI, it's going to launch next week. It's going to be a test at that time. It's going to enable customers to tag Target and ChatGPT and then share what you're looking for. So as an example here in the story, they gave the example of customers can ask ChatGPT, things like, help me plan a holiday movie night. Customers will then be able to access Target's assortment on the AI platform and then even add items to their cart based on the recommendations that ChatGPT gives you. When the customers are ready to purchase the items from their cart, well, that's when you get taken to the Target app and then you can buy them at that time. So a lot of younger people are going this way in terms of their shopping site as well. So I kind of wondered, hey, how many people are using ChatGPT AI instead of like Google and the actual store apps? Well, data from PwC, it suggests 15% of Gen Z and millennial shoppers, they have said that they plan to use AI to find gift ideas this holiday season. So it's still a small percentage, 15% is all it is, That's a lot of people moving that way. It's a younger generation, of course. So, Target wanting to get on board with that as well. We know Walmart getting involved with AI as well. So, a lot of companies moving that way in that side of shopping, at least there. I saw one person that literally shopped. I don't remember what the item was, but they shopped. They had a Chat GPT look at everything available in terms of pricing on the internet, even down to the tax dollar here to have it shipped, etc. And they found the cheapest place to buy that item. It took them about 10 minutes to have all those prompts put in. And the item that they bought was the cheapest anywhere, and that included shipping, that included tax. It was kind of spectacular to watch. My brain doesn't work that way, but it was kind of spectacular to watch them do that as well. And now, we're talking about AI, we're talking about automation out there. Well, now one big grocery chain's kind of pulling back from that automation. And we're talking about Kroger, right? Parent company to Fry's that we have here in the Valley. Kroger did come out yesterday on Tuesday, and they said they're closing 3 automated fulfillment centers. They're doing this as part of an effort to make its delivery operations faster and more profitable at the same time. So Kroger is the nation's largest grocery company. Um, you know, Obviously Walmart as a big box store, Target a little bit bigger in size of the groceries, but as just specifically grocers, they are the biggest there as well. They're going to close facilities in Wisconsin, Maryland, and Florida as well. Those three. It's going to happen in January. The company said it will monitor the performance of its 5 remaining facilities that they're going to keep open. So interesting enough, right? Everybody, the push was go automation, save on the labor, etc. Kroger's decided that's not the way to go. We don't need, and the automation isn't helping us at all moving forward. Kroger's exact statement was, quote, "We are taking decisive action to make shopping easier, offer faster delivery times, provide more options to our customers, and we expect to deliver profitable sales growth as a result," there, according to Kroger chairman who put that statement out as well. Kroger had partnered with a British grocery technology company that was called Ocado Group back in 2018. This is where they wanted to build these warehouses that they have 8 of now, and that's where robots deliver the orders and put them out to everybody. Well, initially they had planned 20 of these automated locations and warehouses. Only 8 were built. 3 are going away now, down to 5. Yes, and it's not cheap to stop this process as well. Kroger said it will incur a $2.6 billion charge for its fiscal third quarter related to the closure of those 3 warehouses. They said they expect the closures will improve its e-commerce operating profit by $400 million in 2026. So Kroger doing the opposite of what everybody else is and bringing back the automation or getting rid of the automation, bringing back the human element to speed it up as well. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, well, we'll get into Scottsdale City Council, Axon. We have a deal, folks. Maybe this is the end of that battle out there, and the lawsuit's going to continue on the state government passing that bill. But maybe this settles the Axon headquarters here. I'll give you that story in the update as well, and so much more to talk about, folks. Come on back. It's McCollum on Business. And you just saw there the commercial there for the Real Matrix today at noon. We are 30 minutes away from episode 9 hitting the airwaves as well here. Robot TV on demand. You'll see the channel for that there, Robot TV. Click on that. Episode will be up there. If you missed any of the earlier ones, they're there as well. The Angry Patriot and his guests throughout it. Del Hellestrey is one of those guests from time to time. Or is there for you to watch here. New episode today at noon, of course, also on our free YouTube channel that we have for the shows that we produce here as well. And then there's a free podcast system. Search The Real Matrix on your favorite podcast system. That'll come up for you as well. All coming out here right at noon. Everything's in, ready to go, scheduled. Noon, it'll be available for you right after we finish here at McCollum on Business. Head on over and catch that as well. And, of course, when we finish here, live at 11 o'clock here at Robot TV, on demand at Robot TV, on demand on YouTube as well. No podcast system for this show here as of yet. And then you got the main event. We finished today's show up, got it in the can, if I can use an industry term. It is available YouTube right now. Free podcasting system it's posted. And, of course, on demand here at Robot TV for the main event as well. With me and 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hellestrey. Coach Sheehan from Scottsdale Christian Academy is going to join us tomorrow. Uncle Lou this week is going to join us on Friday, so just a day off for them. Other schedules is kind of conflicting with that here. Looking forward to get them on the airwaves as well. So coming up the rest of the week there, check us out on demand if you don't catch us live here at Robot TV. And then, of course, the Pit Stop. We'll do some shows. It's on hiatus until February when the race season starts again. We'll do some stuff here surrounding the lawsuit coming up here, of course, with 2311 Front Row Motorsports. Some ins and outs stuff that happened, if there's big driver news, etc., breaking. Follow me there at the Pit Stop Talk on X for the social media. Keep you updated on the racing news out there. Appreciate the follow. And, of course, you can find any episode. Free podcast system on your favorite podcast system at the Pit Stop Talk. If you search for that, make sure you put at the Pit Stop Talk on there for that specific show to come up. A lot of pit stops out there that are vacant, and so we had to do that. And, of course, at the Pit Stop Talk on X as well on the social media side of things there. And with all that being said, let's get right back into that Market Watch. Kind of just where we were before, right? Markets waiting for NVIDIA to come out with their numbers. And NVIDIA is up today in anticipation. They come out after the bell today, so a couple hours away still. Dow Jones right now is only up to 26 points. S&P 500 is up to 22. The Nasdaq's up 104 points. Russell 2K basically even still, 0.7 down right now. It's fluctuating back and forth. We'll just call that even, and then look at this. Bitcoin still below the 90,000 mark. 88,894 right now for Bitcoin as we speak. And so Bitcoin way down from that 125,000 high that they had in early October. And first time spending a lot of days here below that 100,000 mark there for Bitcoin. Stocks we're paying attention to. In this segment, Lowe's came out and announced. Of course, we talked about Home Depot yesterday. And Home Depot missed. They had some weird numbers there, I guess you can say. Well, Lowe's is the opposite, right? Lowe's is up 5.36% here today as well. Their third quarter earnings beat the expectations. Lowe's did earn an adjusted $3.06 per share. The estimate was only $2.97 per share. So Lowe's having some success here in this market. Home Depot, a little bit more struggle from them. And then we got Lazy Boy we're going to talk about as well. They're up big today. 20.28% right now for Lazy Boy. And I saw last week they're opening up a West Valley warehouse as well here in the Valley, out there by the 303, I believe, in that West Valley area. Well, you know Lazy Boy, right? Furniture retailer, manufacturer, their stuff. Well, they had strong second quarter earnings for them as well. They earned an adjusted 71 cents per share. Well, 54 cents per share was the analyst's expectation. So big numbers for Lazy Boy out there. They also topped revenue expectations. They came in at $522.5 million. The The expectation was only $517.6 million for Lazy Boy. So Lazy Boy, when discretionary spending and furniture spending, people just aren't spending money on it right now in this economy. Lazy Boy bucking that trend here, 20.45% up here today. And then let's look at a local company, right? On Semiconductor. We haven't paid attention to them in a while. 3.56% up right now. Well, their board approved a $6 billion stock buyback program over the next 3 years. It begins at the start of 2026. Investors like that because investors that are out there and they have the stock, well, their stock becomes more valuable as they buy back more of their stock into the market. Investors like that, and that's why On Semiconductor is up 3.51% right now for them. And speaking of local companies, let's get into this. Right here's the update on Scottsdale and Axon. You know this battle's been happening over this headquarters for several months now. The city, approved it. The opposition group, they call themselves TAZE, TAAZE, came in. They filed. They got petitions to go on the ballot for 2026. Long time out. Then the state legislature went through, passed a bill about headquarters, international headquarters, which allowed it to continue. There's lawsuits around that as well. And now Scottsdale City Council approved a new deal with Axon. And that's going to cancel that citizen referendum, the one going to the ballots, that tried to cancel, I should say, the new headquarters here, and or at least wait until it went to the voters, in front of the voters here, a year and a half from now. So this deal comes months after those Arizona lawmakers approved that backed legislation, that would have circumvented that referendum to go to the voters and everything. So there is an ongoing lawsuit with that law. I suspect that will continue now that that's a new law. It kind of will still be targeted out there. But Axon is a local company that's been homegrown from here as well. They do that taser body camera stuff for officers, etc. out there. Now they plan to build that new campus, so it includes a headquarters for Axon. They want to build housing, a hotel, and retail. But the big debate here wasn't anything else. It was just simply the apartments that Axon wanted to build and include, and that's been the central part here of any opposition to this headquarters being built. So there's a narrow majority of the city council there in Scottsdale. They repealed the deal on Monday. So now that referendum's been canceled, they repealed it basically by voting this new one in. So this new memorandum of understanding with Axon, it includes 1,200 housing units now, 600 apartments and 600 condos. The one everybody was fighting was 1,900 apartments that they wanted to build. So this is the settlement that passed last night: 1,200 housing units, 600 apartments, 600 condos. Going into that meeting, this was a compromise in the middle of the meeting, that's 600 and 600. Going into the meeting, they had already already compromised on 1,500 units. Well, that appeared dead on arrival at meeting time on Monday because the mayor came out and she signaled she wouldn't cast the swing vote to approve that 1,500 deal due to opposition from that Taze group at 1,500 line. They took a long break in the meeting. The council returned with a lower apartment number of 1,200 now, 600 and 600. And the council voted 4-3 as well. And obviously the mayor had a change of heart here by voting for that number and everything. And it looks like that Taze group is also okay with 600 and 600. At least now they look like they're okay with that number as they worked on that. So referendums canceled. Moving on forward here, and that lawsuit over that state lawsuit might still be going on. Axon president did come out and told reporters he expects construction to begin on the first or second quarter of 2026 coming up. And those headquarters, and Axon is a large multi-billion-dollar company staying here, headquartered in Scottsdale as well. And then there's another company out there that's a local company based out of Phoenix. They call themselves Mesa Air Group out there. They announced that shareholders approved all the proposals that was presented at the company's special meeting of shareholders over the last couple days. That includes the proposal to adopt the agreement and the merger with Republic Airways Holdings Inc. We've told you about that merger coming away a couple months ago as well. Mesa Air Group, that's the holding company there of Mesa Airlines. They're a regional air carrier providing scheduled passenger service to 68 cities in 31 states, and even Mexico they go down to. As of October 31st of this year, Mesa operates a fleet of 60 aircrafts with about 233 daily departures and approximately 1,750 employees as well. So they used to be a big America West one, and then they went over, and I believe they work a lot with United now. Maybe it's Delta, but they do that. But the merger there with Republic Airlines is going through. What does that mean for them as a local company? Well, we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens for Mesa Airlines out there, and then now, right? So we have Axon staying here. We got Mesa Airlines possibly leaving here. We don't know the answer to that. And another thing we know, I can see this hotel out my window right now. You guys can't, but it's literally right over here. If you've ever been downtown, you see that giant Sheraton Phoenix hanging out down here. Well, JLL's Hotel and Hospitality Group has announced the sale of that Sheraton Phoenix Hotel. Officially, that's a premier 1,003 room convention center hotel here in Phoenix. You see it on your screen. That's where you can recognize it when you're down here. So it is marking one of the largest hotel sales in Arizona's history. The buyer is an entity that it's a bunch of companies, but it basically traces back to a New York-based Brookfield Properties buying this. We don't know the sale price yet or any of the terms and conditions. Those weren't disclosed in this announcement. The hotel, though, was last sold in 2020 to the Blackstone Group, and it was sold for $268 million. It's a 33-story Sheraton Phoenix. It stands as the city's largest hotel, by the way. 112,000 square feet of flexible meeting and event space, including that 27,200 square foot Phoenix ballroom. That's the largest in the downtown market. And then also it has 14,000 square foot Valley of the Sun ballroom, another one there. The property offers 26 total meeting rooms, the largest space accommodating up to 2,510 guests. 20 breakout rooms are there as well. So it tells you the scope and the size of this Sheraton hotel, right? And that doesn't even get into the 3 restaurants that they have there and inside and all of that. It was built back in 2008, and it was enhanced through that comprehensive $45 million renovation that was done in 2020 when that last sale went through. The hotel has modern amenities, of course, and sophisticated design throughout its large footprint here in downtown, 806,000 square foot tower. All guest rooms are on the high levels there. They're on floors 5 through 33. So you get the big views of downtown, similar to what you see behind me here as well. And then the surrounding mountain ranges. It does include 8 different room types, traditional king and double rooms. And then it's got those really large, governor's suites that are 1,600 square feet over there as well. So that hotel sold here in the Valley. Another buyer. We don't know the price on it yet or anything. But it doesn't change anything. It's still, I literally look left out the window behind me, and boom, there it is. And I see the pool on top of the 5th floor as well, and all of that down here in downtown Phoenix. So big sell there for a local hotel. And folks, I appreciate you joining me here for McCollum on Business here on this Wednesday edition. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 o'clock here at Robat TV live as well. Come and join me, would you? It'll be fun. We'll get you updated on everything stock market. What's NVIDIA report today? It's going to be good. Their sales and their numbers are going to be there. We'll have to see what the market says about that tomorrow. So come and join us, would you? Have a great Wednesday. Stay dry out there. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.